when I saw this ghost, I assumed that it would be someone floating towards me with a dagger. That's not what it was. My husband once wrote a song about me, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And then he told me he'd paid the guy to do everything. So he basically just spent money. So when you go and buy a pair of shoes in a shop, I always give them to the salesperson, because I'm like, if they take the shoes, then they place them on the table so they get the bad luck. It's very mean of me. He was like, let's Google a narwhal. And I said, no, T. I was like, I'm not Googling pretend animals. And he's like, a narwhal is a real animal. It turns out a narwhal is a real animal. Virgin Radio. Good morning to you. I want to know, who has been watching the Olympics? It feels like, well, maybe it's just because I'm a first timer. I will admit it. I don't usually watch the Olympics, but I feel like everybody is watching the Olympics this year. I think I love it so much because Ireland are winning so many medals. I've got to be honest. I've never seen, like, we're swimming in gold. We are swimming in gold and bronze medals. I'm very proud. But I love the Olympics. Now, I like things about the Olympics, like facts about, when they all went swimming in the Seine. So basically, I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Anyway, the big river in Paris, they all went swimming in it, and they paid 1.5 billion euro to clean out the river so they could go swimming in it. Imagine. But the Olympics then, I've just found out, costs 9 billion euro. And another one I loved was the pole vaulter. I don't know if anyone saw the pole vaulter. I mean, if you haven't seen the pole vaulter, this fella was about to win and he went over the pole, and then his own personal pole got stuck on the pole, if you know what I mean. So he didn't get over, so it knocked the bar over. So he will not have gotten a medal, but I would say he's going to be getting a lot of dates. He must be getting a lot of dates. And then one of my favourites, the horse who was dancing to the Spice Girls. You know when they do dressage and they're like trotting around really fancy, and it was to the Spice Girls. And I was thinking, if I was a horse, that would be the only way I would go around. I'd give up trotting and cantering. I'd just go do the dressage walk the whole time. Also, last thing I loved about the Olympics was Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is there with his best pal Martha Stewart, and they're all dressed up in this equestrian gear. I'm loving it this year. And if you want to see some full coverage of the Olympics, it's all available on TalkSport. Today, 5:45 a.m, my son wakes me up. He's meant to sleep till 7. Not today, because it's Tuesday, and he knows it's Tuesday. And he woke up anyway, and I was like, okay, I'll close his door, try and get him back asleep so he's not up too early. Not a hope of that, but I closed the door anyway, and I was like, I'll pop into the kitchen, I'll have a lovely cup of coffee. And I walked in, and the stench coming from the kitchen was so overpowering, it almost knocked me out. My dog, Bertie, had had a sick tummy all over the house. He had escaped the kitchen, which he had ruined anyway, so there was, I can understand why he had escaped the kitchen. He went into my daughter's room. I spent half an hour this morning on my hands and knees cleaning, crying, thinking, why has this happened? And then I remembered it was Tuesday, so that's why it happened. So what I had to do then, and you have to do this is what I think exercise is great, I took myself on a run, but not just any run, it was a rage run. So I ran really fast until the rage escaped my body, and you know what? It worked. I'm in absolutely flying form now. It's kind of like childbirth. It's one of those things that you kind of forget. So I've forgotten, and I've even come to terms with my dog, and I forgive him. It wasn't Bertie's fault, but he will not be sleeping in the kitchen tonight. Absolutely no way. Birthdays are funny. Like I have a real thing, and my sister does it, which is terrible, and I give out to her every year over it. So she retweets or reposts birthday messages from people, so people will see that it's her birthday, and I'm like, oh, cringe, Amber. So I kind of avoid doing that. I didn't even tell anyone last year, which was a mistake, because I didn't get any presents, nothing, nada. And I have Spencer's mom who will text everybody and remind people of whose birthdays when. She's amazing. I kind of chose my son Otto's birthday because I had to get induced, and they were like, right, you can get induced on this day or that day. And one of the days was the same birthday as a dictator. I'm not going to say his name because he was one of the worst dictators. And I was like, I cannot have Otto having the same birthday as him. So I actually ended up getting induced on a different day because I was like, we can't have that in the family. And Spenny's mom, my husband's mom, basically, Spencer was, the due date was the 8th of the 8th, 88. And that's when she was going to get induced. But then her and Spenny's dad wanted to go to the Formula One on that day. So she got induced on the 6th, so he could have had a really, really cool birthday. He would have been famous somewhere in the world for a birthday like that. And instead, do you know what they did? They decided to look after themselves, and they're dead right. A big shout out to Max, who is very pleased that he shares a birthday with Ginger Spice and my husband, and that's from Lisa in Newport, South Wales. On this day as well, I get this little list of things that are happening on the day that it is. And M. Night Shyamalan, who directed The Sixth Sense, is 54 today. And The Sixth Sense, if you haven't seen it, it is one of the greatest movies. There's such a twist in it, like you'll never get it. It is terrifying, like absolutely terrifying, but I kind of love a really scary movie. So that's a good one. And then I was thinking, if you haven't seen The Others, if you're into scary movies, The Others with Nicole Kidman, petrifying, and you'll never figure it out until the end, which I really like about that. And The Conjuring, I mean, you'll sleep with the lights on for a little while after that. I'm not lying. That one is extra terrifying. And then Paranormal Activity. Absolutely, I love a terrifying movie. I don't even watch the scary bits, and I still have to sleep with the lights on. But like, I'm really into them. And also a podcast, the Battersea Poltergeist podcast, I listen to as well, and it's so good. So do you know what? You should go and terrify yourself tonight and watch one of those movies. Sixth Sense first, though. Now, we were talking scary movies before that song, and I am kind of obsessed with the paranormal and all things like that. I once did a TV show, where I went around oh wow, I went around haunted castles in Ireland looking for ghosts. Okay, that's what I did for a TV show, and I had a great time, but I was terrified. But I want to know, has anyone actually seen a ghost? I love those stories, so please WhatsApp me in +44 333 00 333 00. Now I'll tell you my story, right? Now, when I saw this ghost, I assumed that it would be someone floating towards me with a dagger. That's not what it was. So I was in a house in Jersey, and the reason I was taken aback was because I was coming down the stairs and I looked at this area beside the kitchen, and I thought I saw a woman standing there, and all of a sudden she just wasn't there. But like, I kind of brushed it off because I was like, that's ridiculous, and I never thought about it again until I went back to that house like a month later. Same thing happened, and I was like, okay, weird that I saw the woman the first time, but it could have just been my eyes. The second time made me think that it was a ghost. So that's my ghost story. Please don't think I'm really strange. I am quite normal besides the paranormal stuff. But I want to hear your ghost stories. +44 333 00 333 00. My husband once wrote a song about me, and then sent me, it was someone singing it and everything. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And then he told me he'd paid the guy to do everything, so he basically just spent money and had a song written about me. But I suppose it was kind of romantic, and he's usually very romantic. Like, I'm not the romantic one in the relationship, although I have booked him a trip to Italy for his birthday, so we can have some time with no children. But that's kind of for me as well, you know, like, I'm getting something out of that. I'm getting to go to Italy as well. I always find, I was only asked this question yesterday, right? What's something romantic that you've done for someone or they've done for you? I love that. If you're romantic, give us some examples. We want to hear it. Or if somebody's been romantic towards you, I want some ideas. I'm terrible. I think romance is like when I go into the kitchen and my husband's put the bins out and he's tidied it and we're ready to sit down and watch TV. I need examples. WhatsApp me in +44 333 00 333 00. Now, we were talking about romantic gestures, and you know what? Romance is not dead. Some of the stuff I'm getting in, I am like so happy for people with all the romance in their life. Sarah, you lucky ducker, she once dated a fella who was a chef and would always cook me lunch at the restaurant he worked at. He'd put it in a Tupperware and drop it round to my office as it was so close to the restaurant. You can always buy someone's love food. When he couldn't deliver, he got his colleague to do it. And he's now my husband. And safe to say, it soon stopped once we got married. Love him though. I always say that it would have been nice to marry a chiropractor. I love going to the chiropractor. But a chef, not bad either. Georgia said, every Saturday my hubby makes me tea in bed and lets me have an hour to myself to watch rubbish TV while he looks after the kids. That's a personal favourite now for me. Now, Janet also said, for Christmas one year, my boyfriend got us tickets to a gig which was in Milan. I was so confused as we'd no plans, but it was something we spoke about one time when a little drunk. After I questioned him, he presented me with an itinerary for a 10 day trip. Wow, I hope Spenny doesn't hear that because I only got him a 2-day trip. Oh well. Now we were talking romance on the show, and it feels very romantic today. Everyone is coming in with their romance stories, and I absolutely love them. Listen to this. When I started dating my boyfriend, he made me a colouring book using our pictures from dates. I'm not sure if you're a toddler or an adult, but it's still a very nice gesture. Very nice. I liked it. Hub and I were just dating, and I moaned about how hot my office was. Next morning, there was a desk fan sitting on my bonnet. 12 years later, still fanning. That is really nice. I love that kind of romance. This is really up my street, right? This one. My ex cut my lawn while I was in work as he knew it was stressing me out. I just think that's so nice. If I got home and my husband had power washed the balcony, it would send me over the edge. Vogue Williams here with you on the Ryan Tubridy Show. We're back to romance, everybody. I cannot believe it. It's such a romantic day we're having today. Thank you for joining me on it. So I've gotten sent more things. Trish sent me a picture of her breakfast that her husband decided to make her because she was having a bit of a bad day, I think. And I have never seen such a work of art. There's pancakes. He's even done that dusting of the whatever that stuff is. What is it? Sugar? I don't know. And he's got bananas cut up, strawberries. Goodness me, keep that man. He's amazing. Elizabeth mailed in and said, an ex of mine wrote a very personal poem about me, framed it and sent it back to try and win me back. I don't know how I would feel about that. I suppose that could be quite nice. I once, when I was in uni, I just remembered this because I read that poem story. I was in uni and there was a boy that I was seeing for a very short period of time, and I had broken up with him. I just didn't want to see him anymore, and he knocked on my dorm room door. And I opened the thing and I had told him that I loved orange Smarties. But this is back in the day before you could actually buy a box of orange Smarties. And he had this huge big jar of just orange Smarties. And I thought that was really cute, but I still didn't get back with him. But I did enjoy the Smarties. Caroline said that on Valentine's Day, I got a bag of flour and a card. I heard girls like flowers on V-Day. Well, I'm glad you saw the funny side. I'm kind of cheap, so I really want this mirror, so I keep sending my husband pictures of it, hoping that just one day the mirror will appear and I won't have to buy it for myself. My son, Theodore, is so obsessed with animals, right? And he mentions dinosaurs to me that I've never even heard before, like a philosophical, I can't even pronounce these names, and he's in telling me, like, what happened to the T-Rex and Brontosaurus? That's what I grew up with. Anyway, he absolutely adores a thing that we do every night. We Google one animal, and I'll tell him facts about this animal. Unless he's been bold, then that gets removed, because I would never threaten the iPad, because that's my free time, and I'm not giving that up. Anyway, the other night, he was like, let's Google a narwhal. And I said, no, T. I was like, I'm not Googling pretend animals. Let's Google a real animal. What do you want? And he's like, a narwhal is a real animal. I said, T, it's not a real animal. It turns out a narwhal is a real animal. And I never knew it was a real animal. And I also never knew that my 6-year-old was smarter than me, which is quite terrifying. But anyway, I want to know, did you know that some animals weren't real? Like, what kind of animals did you think weren't real? Because like unicorns, obviously not real. Narwhal was kind of in that category for me, but they're real. So I don't know what else is out there. Get in touch. WhatsApp me on +44 333 00 333 00. I'm so proud of all of you who have mailed in, who also did not know certain animals were real. There are a few narwhals in there, and they don't look real. They look very prehistoric or something. It's like something you'd dig up as a fossil, but they are, in fact, real. Now, a lot of you, I'm quite disappointed to say, didn't know that reindeers were real. And if you're just tuning in, by the way, I'm saying this because my son and I, we Google an animal every night and he likes to learn about it. And I didn't know narwhals were real, and I thought I was really stupid. But a lot of people didn't know reindeers. Brian, reindeers, folk, reindeers. Brian, I've seen reindeers, like they don't have red noses or anything, but they are real. Steph said she didn't believe in red pandas until she went to the zoo and finally saw one. I'm going to quickly Google a red panda myself, Steph, because I haven't quite heard of them either. Amanda keeps trying to push it with the unicorns. They are not real, Amanda. I hate to say it to you. And one of my favourite ones ever was there's a drop bear, but I actually don't know what a drop bear is. Someone's mentioning dragons in Slovenia, but I'm pretty sure that dragons aren't real. And then Katie said, men. Vogue Williams here on the Ryan Tubridy Show. Now, we were talking about animals we didn't know existed, and I thought I was really stupid because I didn't know a narwhal was a really real animal. But I'm just getting more and more mails in. I'm starting to get worried for some of you out there. People are saying they didn't know that a wolf was real, a chipmunk, an armadillo, a seahorse, puffins. There's a lot of animals. Platypus. I knew all of them were real, but I just thought, wow, that's a lot of animals that people don't know are real. And I thought I would let you in on an animal fact I found out. Right, it's kind of like a little quiz. I'm going to quiz you a one-question quiz. Okay, so what animal do you think has the strongest kick of all the animals? Now, I'm going to only give you a couple of seconds to think about that and then get your answer together, and you will just, I just don't think that you're going to get it, but you're going to be thinking horse. Well, get that out of your head. It's not one of them. You're going to be thinking a kangaroo. It's not a kangaroo. You're going to be very surprised when I tell you what it is, because it's very unusual. It's kind of from the horse family, I guess. So think about that. Yes, you've got it. It's a zebra. I just banged my elbow in studio and had to bang the other elbow. I am really weirdly superstitious. Like, I would think if I didn't bang the other elbow, now something bad would happen to me today. I've loads of them though, and I abide by them all. Don't even talk to me about climbing under a ladder. Absolutely no way. I can't bear if someone crosses me on the stairs. Like, I'll wait for ages in a busy restaurant, anything, until everyone's off the stairs. And then some people just don't understand. They're creating bad luck. New shoes on a table. So, when you go and buy a pair of shoes in a shop, I always give them to the sale. It's actually really mean of me. I always give them to the salesperson because I'm like, if they take the shoes, then they place them on the table so they get the bad luck. It's very mean of me. I also have a really weird one. Like, I'm not a holy person at all, and it must be from growing up and going to a Catholic school. I don't know. I always bless myself at a graveyard, but I don't bless myself once. I bless myself twice because I'm scared if I open my prayer and then God sees what I get up to, I'll be in trouble. I won't get in there, and so I close it again. I know it's really weird, but I want to know: do you have any really weird superstitions? WhatsApp me in +44 333 00 333 00. Please make me feel less weird. Sometimes I like to sing into the mic and pretend I'm a pop star when the songs come on, so I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Vogue Williams on the Ryan Tubridy Show. You are a superstitious bunch. Wow. We were talking about what kind of superstitions you have. I have an unusual amount of them, and it's quite hard day-to-day life going by and having to stick by these things, but it seems you're all in the same boat as me. So there's a lot of these things walking over three drains. It's the one thing I don't do. I don't want to know about it because it's going to be something I'll have to add. It's too late. It's gonna become one of my thing. One of my favourite ones that I was sent in was, if I have a bad day and I've used a new shower gel, I'll never use that shower gel again. Imagine blaming your shower gel on a bad day. That sounds like something I would do. Do you know what I was surprised by? There's not many on the mirrors. Like, are you allowed to smash mirrors? Is that gone? Because I was planning on smashing a mirror, so I'm just making sure that that's allowed now. we had Al and Sal and Al and Sal. They wrote in and said, a big no-no in our house is crossing on the stairs. Thank you, Al and Sal and Al. It's a big bringer of bad luck and adds many hundreds of additional steps a year. Oh, I didn't know that part about it. But I suppose that would make sense. Do you know what? I love that your names are rhyming, because we used to have two dogs that lived next door to us, and the owner was very, very clever and called them Salmonella. And you just hear her screaming, Salmonella, Salmonella. Now, if, like me, you've been on absolute tenterhooks about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's marriage, let me tell you, I found out the reason that they're not saying they're getting divorced because it's been going around the rumour mill for ages and ages and ages. And to be honest with you, I loved when they got back together. It was a real love story for me. But supposedly they're staying together because they've got a movie coming out. So it's called Unstoppable, and Jennifer is starring in it, and Ben has produced it. So they've got to promote that first. I mean, they got to promote it. But I believe they're missing a trick, because when they do this whole promotional trail, people will be obsessed knowing that they've got divorced. So surely it would be better for the movie. I don't know. I mean, I might plan a breakup myself, because think about it. Sorry, Spenny. I'm sorry. I've got some tan to sell, okay? Hello, I'm Vogue Williams, and I've had an absolute ball covering for Ryan here on the Ryan Tubridy Show. I hope you have a brilliant weekend, and thank you so much. Thanks for having me, and thanks for all your texts. You're absolutely deadly, and I will see you soon.
Virgin Radio.